you know. Yeah.
I confirmed. Now the community no amount for the break can say Eric Ten Hag between akwa adwuma Alonso ye Oliver Kusi no. Na mete sa comment na ya na eye me yakakra say how football etie no. Football any sympathy. Football dances around recency. Football say we a legend ya no catch say did you legend no watch no. A history people forget it. At the time now Eric Ten Hag started aya say adwuma no. He was one of the first 4 names, sir. Say, bobo coaches, sir. Obetima be Manchester Jumano, Obetima be Barcelona Jumano, going into the future. Clubs are a job board they took from Passimo Motomano. Eric Ten Hag was touted as those coaches Obetima be Jumano. And buying employed Pep Guardiola. No. This manager, Eric Ten Hag, was the head coach of Bayern Munich second team. No. So everybody saw say, oh, baby, Ten Hag in no. Why be the Pep Guardiola so far the baby doing until the given time of what's baby Jumano. Manchester the Jumano man. I've always been saying one thing: big clubs, big demands, big responsibilities. We a young coach now far. What for name you? What for risk? What's up for opportunity? The ebe come out be your own crowd there. Ten Hag Juma oye de man yes. The place or Timmy Groomy or Modo share or more Timmy Tom Yeska. The massacre de Real Madrid farm, including on one backyard in Benebao. A Germany no, the Obaba or Manchester no yaw. Now Sakok paper.
Not to me, 101.3.
So Gideon man for Martin Hagen and not to a chat. Especially at the time of Sadi Ronaldo saying ya in a crowd and then come on as I say crowd. Oh, tactical unyadi. No be about so about boy want to be some managing. So people said say man management so no Ten Hagen yadi. Now yinedi. Coach on Bruno Subebrisa in terms of the elite level. Yes, so we mean FIFA. This guy, how many finance and son or they call? I mean Ten Hag. Akomeah and son. Or Jumumienu, a GFA or GFA Cup. Jet the club said say Ten Hag in Yade. Whatever you say, whatever you comment or react, yo, Manchester level near Yas and Yepe. One is a fallen traditional giant on the other form say, me Europe be even Netherlands or Crown and say you saw it and if I really used to know.
Yeah.
So I asked Jetum, but Ten Hag saw Jetum say the two clubs are different in terms of stature. But yo, what did you funny thing? At the time now I asked under Ten Hag why Juma was sorry Europe. The squad media Sharak Bebre. Looking through the squad, players are not what? Why not bet me Jiba Biakase? Not Ten Hag, the tipe. And I say, ultimately Leverkusen, Jumano, and Alonso crowd Bruno so. But this is football. The squad you had at Ayasano is different. The other Manchester no man for Jimu. A very current scene the Okoye wa Ayasano. The baby me jirana die. Alonso asama Jumana ye din asawa e de Ten Hag. Because Olusu Jeremy Frimpong. Olusu Jonathan Ta. No besa so Olusu Florent Vets. What it means and say there's going to be a new era. The new era BS san. Yeah, the two era na expire no. The fading era no one the new one ever rise and better too. Until Leverkusen could be a history invincible be any babia unbeaten be any babia Europa League be any babia. What in common I say? But right now Ten Hag Remo the Europa League in the now you can find out the next thing we want to win it. The Bundesliga and election, Alonso we want to win this one. It makes the job very tall for manager Francis Ten Hag. No baby Alonso 3 aye say.
Na Alonso dey anya ho na pressure crowd more.
More Alonso dey there. Omo fa Ancelotti and to no ho as a yardstick.
Okay.
Omo fa to no ho. They have always been telling you. Alonso is a young coach. Madrid understands that. Madrid also understands that the squad has been depleted. So Alonso is now starting a new dawn for Real Madrid. Madrid left back here, Madrid right back here, Madrid is 6 here, Madrid number 9 here. Do they still have the belief and hope in the partnership between Vinicius and Mbappe? So these are the situations. Who are the two central defensive parents? Alonso. So Madrid here, they agree. Say one Ancelotti or Alonso isn't Ancelotti, and that Alonso there. Why you do be Oliver Kusin? No moment 10 in the Madrid there has to be a new dawn and a new era for Xabi Alonso. They've given the guy the confidence to go. And I'm not to players in the B and the Abashishi. And the Yamana welcome. He's a local boy, a Spanish. They understand the level of Drew Ancelotti by Yao. This is football. It sometimes presents itself so funny. Yeah, the Alonso better to Ten Hag who's want to be a Jumana. But here the Omema Alonso time and patience to work because of the squad differences. Because of the squad differences. But my problem was that baby not Ten Hag idea say bana. Satam Alonso krano. We judges not to one and chain. But how a merasa Ama Alonso the standard near the ma you better to Ten Hag no. That is the other side of footballer. Me dream one more say no. As a coach, you should always, as a matter of fact, make yourself very relevant. My point number 2, a story I will hear on Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta best stay with Arsenal. Also, Joker is back up. Zesko beba abe so Arsenal team. May Arsenal stories be bring and saying, but imagine it me say story so a bit developing into yana esem dem no tools.
I know dear.
Yo. Jokeres Sesko, my young woman, you know, actual. And I'm a Pamibu Akomeah say, I don't Sesko, I should go to be about you on a year.
European Golden Boot.
I didn't hear.
League, no woman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Jokeres as some.
Yeah,
Jokeres for sporting.
Yeah. I don't know what should go see Obia. Yet on your top scorer, many Akomeah. And I'm trying to say, this is why you also need to understand, say, there are levels in the game. But be a 60 no, you catch us say no, what the bahadia 60 ni beche otu. Na goes no, ya 30 the amount. Meaning say one more so jitum say there's a leveler as I say Udru and san reach the top level. Why na Arsenal for turn at this time?
You say between Shesko and Jokeres no. Omunya Jokeres na nkomo pe bat. Ombe we na e canon aye more than Shesko die no. Meaning say what my have it here. Sika ombe to ama club no. The player in question, the also beji. Omo canning na the bomb the toto Benjamin Shesko the no Jokeres the much higher. A chain that of Shesko.
Yeah, among try anything possible. Somebody Jokeres in a Arsenal for. Ya no kwana go. Maka no kwana striker. And yes striker keke. Striker de come that's what Jesus. Materially you can still call them strikers. But natural finisher. Martinelli is in it finisher. Bukayo Saka, open finishes or game no one in the home. He only augments in terms of the goal load. But everyday finisher, high volume scorer, double digits. They need somebody in that regard. Jokers, Arsenal form musika in a striker. And so project now why na Obika say Arsenal for pet player no boy to say, look, apart from getting a striker, Mikel Arteta could top player be by no department at me. I will not agree with him. Area baby, right back, goalkeeping. You've had a goalkeeper or your upgrade on Ramsdale. I'm a David Raya, you want the amount. Central defense in Chenko, you want my left back or Calafiero in your upgrade. Midfield in Sasama, they need a striker. Yeah, my last piece, a Ballon d'Or. My generation said Mbappe individually, he's been very much successful. Trophy na nya mai no nya ento. Sa Madrid the J Club World Cup no. Na Nations League no France. Mbappe should be part of the Ballon d'Or discussion.
Sa no more kana.
He should be part of the discussion.
Okay.
Free Italy. But also a story about Antonio Conte ne omo Napoli sense ne nkomo and na machire ne de kwa kusisi nyina buboba. I think say Antonio Conte baby are all position himself as a coach, you know. In the long run, the reputation will be at stake. Shadie, when him say when one particular coach and the biggest problem by cup games. In his entire seasons at Juventus, one the Coppa Italia da. On 2 occasions now, Oje the Supercoppa d'Italia. Asa, ano G League twa so. Inter Milan one the Coppa Italia. Inter Milan a league and Antonio Conte ko J. Chelsea no ba ya obeji league saso J the FA Cup. At Napoli the Coppa Italia went to me and a league na waje or jiwi or say a juma no crown or pekwan bi so man to kwesi mama na je juma no hwako fancy let me say Antonio Conte on is done in a tone sadidie because omu ye adwuma na omu play certain smart level bi a ase omu nto aso ma bibi mbeyi omu to ase akonwa
so when you say next season any smooth same
Antonio Conte cannot play the Champions League and the league together and do well for Napoli. Hey, see, it won't happen. Either say league no besa GBM, na Champions League no we free mu. E be a bare round of 16 kra. And on play no wo kra nko ye adwuma no kra na wakobo Champions League akobo league no kra ma ba akokra kogu nanim ase. Because who Juventus are every season biano Juventus are there Champions League mo akwa quarter final and ahimo. The first season our G League ma Juventus, not Juventus and more any other competition because Juventus were playing in the Europa League the previous season. Sometimes I wonder the no Champions League in this annual money because as a player, let's not forget that he won the Champions League in 95-96. He was a finalist. I will lose the final on bare 3 occasions against Borussia Dortmund 96-97. Ebobanyina. Waji the UEFA Cup. He has been finalist in the UEFA Cup at some point in time. Waji the UEFA Intertoto Cup. So in terms of caps, as a player, he has done it all. But as a coach, I think there's one open league at GNN work of Fana Base League. No major one season. Oh, you are not call. You're fanning build team. Me no or one coach Drew maybe Krana United ipe coach Krana many Jonsenka coach way by United Akebe one but in the long run whatever United wants to do way on more United
so on pay that long term
Debbie on 2 to 3 years once how many players or pa and one no well you finding your project adwuma
the one Krana we crop besan ba be pam mo no de go Costa.
That is it.
And not space or brain.
Yeah, Tottenham.
You're finding your project to my cry. Now, Napoli for nobody out kakra because I feel like team Nigeria. Now, Amokofa Kevin De Bruyne and Denaba. Ababeshe team Nimkina. You already have Romelu Lukaku. Who wants a baby Obokobi Arsenal? If he's supposed to join Juventus, trust you me, Juventus will come for Lukaku. Baby Obekobiano, Juventus, and Juventus and Bresa Tudor, Omutimini in Yadumadi. It's a real season now, encore. But Antonio Conte was very good history with Juventus because he no more dominated the Italian Serie A, no head coach and Allegri. So when you bring him in, but maybe someone said the quality of Juventus, said the Antonio Conte demanding no crown, but me my Juma. Locatelli, no, you're the small type of players, ask yourself, okay. Colomwani no ope. Napoli will sit down and they only bite on my fingernails and say they signed a deal with the devil. Also, Timine Bonsam consign contract be we were jam on my but song soon swan. Edio Mechi and Shedmo about on Namospe went to me. He's never a project coach, and I think he's a fine coach when it comes to winning league titles. But the reputation as a world class coach, Fancy, I think Antonio Conte puts a dent on it, especially with the way will be heavy with several clubs or joining. Enchebia Pam no free or call. Enchebia no Jao Konya Duji League Nivia on Twasubi. Whatever Chelsea area with their project, we are told Bolia Wakuma Beto Yem Kakra. Because Untimi spend a huge amount of money, over £1 billion, not 2 consecutive seasons, not Untimi embody UEFA Champions League. There is a reason why most clubs are enthused about playing in the Champions League. The charisma of the competition, the quality of opposition in the competition, the level of pedigree a competition you want to. But the reality of the situation, they won't come about the Champions League, the amount of money you gain from it. Not necessarily directly from the competition, scared the amount. But the moment you find yourself in the Champions League, or sponsors, or match day revenue, everything increases. Because fancy, so you kotoko krampona say Obo League match, or charge 20 cedis, a Drew Cup Champions League, or charge 40.
Yes.
It will see Casemia Day. A picture.
101.3.
The taste and preference for the competition gives you a lot of money. But you can spend a huge amount of money for 2 seasons with young players. As a coach is bear 3. Now when your opportunity in front Roma headache bibi be yo. But when my pressure never form because whatever they are building no enye nne so be so aba. Me for instance, I'm still waiting to see what will happen to their project. But I think one of the boldest steps are club ni betimi anya eteki their chance to play in the Champions League next season. That is all. Onkofa Caicedo for such amount of money. Onkofa Enzo Fernandez for such amount of money. Onkofa most of these players for such amount of money. And still be langling around 4th, 3rd. And Kwanebia Obebo Champions League. But people expect you to win. But I think the Champions League offers you another opportunity for projects now to move to a different stage. I'm happy for them. Say the last few games netting pa.
Yeah, because Mekai say
Manchester
the last 6 matches.
Netting pa. Netting. Obi obeka say games netting bia na oboa. But I think this is a test of character for a young team like Chelsea. They needed some of these moments to test their pulse. Fancy. And could that way mono to be very honest with you within the team. Obi and one ma wajibi bi papa bia. Top player bien one more because we win our Chelsea current setup ni. Adara bioyo onye win papa bia. The more market can Nicolas Jackson money Copa Man City the crowd on no GG leagues no one started. But to feel part of a certain project, to be a major consistent winner in this setup no natural it would here Enzo Maresca at the point in time. On one case because omo here winners omo here a certain level of experience be on dressing room or so about press conference because as him no so players no must say young players baby but within the dressing room they need people of more experience. They be America say Chelsea Champions League no more one of the key players are no more set up Nimbo Power Thiago Silva. Share that season on the impact on the players and the team. A can be na some of the young players no more Chelsea team ni me idolizing say you perceive as Thiago Silva, you perceive as Thiago Silva. But I think this first step for this young Chelsea team, is very important to help their mentality going forward. It's an important step because all fighting for we are. The next step is say you fight to be consistent in qualifying for the Champions League. If you become consistent in fighting for the Champions League, the next step you move in is say obey the league title. From the league title, then you might target the Champions League or target other things. So this basic foundation that has been set by this current crop of Chelsea players, me omo mabaso, so oma ma told ball inside the day, NC form plus the coach, good resource, solid. First, the transfer market is heating up. Now me say, en komodo dona center around the domino effect of the strikers, strikers we are say. Liverpool says say omo penwan.
Who go Ekitike?
Frankfurt one mo no mo bu omo afiwe pa ne nkofo mo po mo bu omo. You see, sometimes let's sit down and understand how Frankfurt City turn omo strikers. Busa say you vetch ko en ekosi say. On betwa so wani sisi e. Mamush na aba ana obo ne kakra kakra. Enye Ekitike ya na ko ne nam Paris Saint-Germain ya wakopie mo Frankfurt. And I think sir, one thing is clear about the target of Liverpool. I think Liverpool does not need a striker in the mode of Darwin Núñez and Obi to say Victor Osimhen. They need a striker in the mode of Alexander Isak. But Alexander Isak, they are not difficult because Newcastle are qualified for Champions League.
Yes.
That profile also they so Ekitike na no mo de omoni beto to ano maba kofa dia ba. But the most important aspect of their transfer is to get a number 10 in the shape of Florian Wirtz. And the quality of Florian Wirtz, they maybe one way or the other, they might even decide to even keep Darwin Núñez and play Diogo Jota as the number 9, depending on the plan sem. Because the gap was so hard, no class will be as the number 9. But Ekitike money ye, Okwani abo 80, 60, 70. Now we could try. Frankfurt for one dear, maybe they am one person. Make sure that you to me, but Victor Gyökeres should also be careful. Victor Gyökeres asem na waka say United for ayo mo say no mo pen enya no kure United ni Champions League ma
no open Champions League.
Open abo. But Champions League na. But Champions League na wo pa abo no. Team na wo pa opa na sisi no. Eh Arsenal. Arsenal no so ne Benjamin Sesko akoye dey. Akodi nkomo. And no check bibia it looks like Ateta is more enthused about Benjamin Sesko than Victor Gyökeres.
Yeah.
What to me?
Liverpool nya na adresse open Victor Gyökeres. They have not moved in for him. Ebia Chelsea are qualified for Champions League no mu taste best because the moment Chelsea qualifies for the Champions, their taste and preference changes. Sa squad no mo de ball Conference League no mu timi fa sa squad ni nchemu tum be Champions League derby. So the sa squad no ko Champions League you lose week after week and suffer. So they will also love to beef up. Maybe Chelsea will also love to move in for Victor Gyökeres. But we are Chelsea are Delap, Gyökeres, never Nicolas Jackson call wings. We are Liverpool target a different player aside Hugo Ekitike. Some more per Alvarez as well. Atletico Madrid for ne Pelunes. That is where deal no beti me aweke. I'm both sides now should be me aba.
Whoa, me that say, Meza, Mike.
Fancy, me that say. Now we are story now try Xabi Alonso in the presentation in the Tuja. And I think